Back again. Here we are. Welcome to the Restoration Group podcast, recording in the crossroads of America, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. In this podcast where we are sometimes silly, but always serious about investing in Oklahoma City owners and leaders who desire to integrate their Christian faith into their small business. I am your host, Clay Steves, and today is a very special episode. One, because it's a guest episode, but two, because we have a very special guest with a great perspective. My new friend we met this morning, my new friend, Susan Brown. Susan is an Oklahoman with a passion for Jesus, recovery, and Narcotics Anonymous. She loves people, and she has 4 kiddos. God bless you. She has 4 kiddos that are super proud of her. And I'm very excited about Susan's perspective today because so often, we are talking to leaders and owners at businesses and nonprofits in the Oklahoma City area who desire to integrate the Christian faith. And Susan has a different role at the organization she works within, but she's going to be able to bring her perspective. She's going to be able to bring her story to share why leaders that integrate their faith, why organizations that integrate their Christian faith matter, and share her unique perspective of that. So Susan, I'm going to stop talking. And so welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is so awesome.
Like, I'm going to tell y'all, viewers, you can already see it. Listeners, I'm confident after her one line, you can already hear it. Like, Susan's got a joy that just like comes out in her smile and laughter. And so this is going to be a good space today. Okay, sister, tell me about the organization you work for and what is your role within this organization?
Okay, so TEAM is a nonprofit organization that is, it stands for the Education and Employment Ministry. It's a nonprofit that is dedicated to breaking cycles of incarceration through education and just building better moral character for people. I mean, that looks different for everybody. So we just meet people where they're at and help them become better.
How long have you worked at TEAM?
So on March 21st, it will be my 1-year anniversary. Clay, I've never had a job. I've never had a job for a year before. This is my first time. The role I serve in, I don't wear a lot of hats, but the main one I have is I'm the receptionist. So when people walk in the door at TEAM, they see me. When people call TEAM, they hear me. And I feel like I was made for this job. I feel like this job was made for me. So, yeah.
First off, let's just pause and celebrate that incredible gift and achievement, and well done. I mean, that anniversary mark is a big deal in March of 2023. So well done, Susan.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so like talk to me about day to day. Like you're running the front desk, you're answering phones. Like just give me what a normal day looks like. And maybe there's not a normal day, but give me a normal day being the receptionist running that front desk at TEAM.
So I walk in, I clock in, I answer the phones. As soon as I walk in, there's people here. We have participants coming in there's 4 clipboards on my desk. We have 4 different programs. They'll come in, they'll sign in. We serve coffee. I'm also the team barista. That's one of the hats I wear. So I'll go and give them a cup of coffee. That brightens anybody's day, right? So
yeah, it does.
Whenever I first got here to TEAM, I wanted to know everything. I wanted to be able to do everything well immediately. And it took me a little while to learn that that's not my job. It's my job to transfer the calls to the people who do know. So I learned, I'm a quick learner, and I learned that. So they'll call and ask questions about our program. I get to explain that to them. Another game that I get to play all day with people is who's your case manager. Nobody knows who they're here to see half the time. So they'll come in and I'm like, well, we have 2 Brandons here. So I'm like, is he thick or thin? That's the way I narrow that down. Like, we have like two female case managers. Like, is she blonde or brunette? Like, people don't know who they're here to see. And then they'll say, my case manager, Susan. I'm not a case manager. Let's try again. These people, our participants are mostly, a lot of them have just gotten out of jail. They've been in there for a long time. I meet them. I'm the first face that they see at their worst. You know, like they're just getting out of jail. They're dirty, they're hungry, they're tired, they feel terrible for whatever they did, however they ended up there. Everybody had, some people are really grateful to be out of jail. Some people are a little more entitled. They shouldn't have been there in the first place, you know, and I meet them where they're at. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome to team. I'm glad that you're here. Would you like some coffee? Like, you know, thanks for calling team. How can I help you? And like, those aren't just words to me. Like, that's how I feel. I'm so glad that people are here. Cause, I don't know if you want to get into it yet, but I was once where they were. Like I have been exactly where they are. So
yeah, so let's do. I mean, you're making segues for me. I don't even have to make them. I'm just gonna give you like legit take the show. But if you would share with us some of your personal story that's led to the passion, so that when you are greeting people at that door, like what's behind it for you that makes you so passionate, that makes you want to connect with them where they are?
So I'm a recovering drug addict. I've been clean now for like 4.5 years.
Come on, girl.
Prior to that, I was in active addiction using methamphetamines on a daily basis for about 17 years of my life. I mean, through pregnancies, through relationships, through the ups and downs, like that's just what I did. I started at such a young age, and it's no way to live, but that's what I was used to. That was my normal. So eventually that led to, as you could imagine, a little legal trouble. So I found myself in Oklahoma County Jail with 5 felony charges, trafficking, possession of proceeds, like all these things that I'd never been in trouble before. I didn't know anything about jail. I didn't know anything about the criminal legal process. I knew nothing. What I did know is that there's a God that loves me. I've known that since I was a young child, and I knew that if I seek Him, He'll be found. That's what I did know. So I did that. I sat in jail and I prayed day and night. I mean, I prayed day and night for God to remove the desire from me to use drugs, because I mean, it was destroying everything. It destroyed my relationships, my home, my family, like my life. And I grew up like I was really, really smart in school, like academics wise, socially. Like I'm a good person. Like I'm a decent person. I just had a drug addiction, you know. So prayed, you know, just for restoration. I believe everything in the Bible is true. I believe every promise that God gives us is true because I've experienced it. But even before that, I just knew that He made me for more. So prayed in jail, and I was only in there for 3 months, and then somebody came to visit me from team, and they ended up went through a little bit of, not very long of a process, about 4 days, and she was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like you're in here for some very serious charges, but I'm gonna try, like we can try. And I was like, okay, let's try. So the second visit, she was like, I'll come back in a couple of days if I can get the judge to approve it. And I was like, okay. So I went back, you know, to my cell, and I was like, well, that's cool, you know, like, and people are like, what's team stand for? And I was like, well, I don't know. I didn't ask. So she comes back and she's like, great news, you know, the judge approved it. And I was like, great, what's team stand for? And she was like, it stands for the Education and Employment Ministry. All my ears heard were ministry. And I was like, God's getting me out of jail. Like, this is exactly right. This is what's happening. God's getting me out, of course. So I arrive at team and I am met with open arms. I had no idea what to expect. I was just one of those people who like, yay, I'm out of jail. Like, what's next? Like, what can I do right this time? Because that's where I was at. I wanted to do everything differently. And I know that I had enough knowledge about Narcotics Anonymous. Like, they teach you all kind of spiritual principles in there. And I knew that if I wanted stuff different to go differently now, then I had to do stuff differently. So let's do this. So I arrived here at team. They met me with open arms. They gave me a bag of hygiene products and some clothes. And we discussed sober living. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's not jail. So yeah, I'm willing to do that. Fast forward a little bit, everything is going great. I'm coming in, meeting my case manager once a week. I'm doing drug tests once a week. Like I have 2 jobs. I'm living in sober living. Like I'm killing it. And my court dates get dragged out, go back to court, back to court, back to court. They're writing, my case manager like loves everything I'm doing, singing my praises. And they ended up sentencing me still to 4 years imprisonment for, I mean, trafficking. The minimum sentence you can get for that is 4 years. So I was very grateful. I had enough spirituality and recovery in me at that point to be like, you know what, like, I now have the ability to accept responsibility for my behavior, and I did stuff I wasn't supposed to do. So like, I have to go to prison. It's not the end of the world. It's just 4 years. So I went to prison, and it wasn't all that bad. I am a bright light. I know that God is inside of me, and prison is very dark. So I got to go in there and just be the light. And I did. I worked a lot of steps with a lot of girls. I prayed with a lot of girls. I got to grow a lot. A spiritual growth took place in prison. And I think it's like that for a lot of people, to be honest. So God knows what he's doing, you know, I'm just here. So I embraced it. I read somewhere, and I think in Zechariah, it really stood out to me when I hit the yard, and it said something about blooming where you're planted. And I was like, okay, God, I can do that. So I did. And then I made parole in only a year and a half. So I wasn't even gone that long. And I was very, very fortunate to, whenever I got out of prison, a lot of people, you know, when they're released, they don't have anything. They don't have anything to like a house or anything. And I had all that stuff. I had everything that I already built for myself before I went to prison. So, and then I never really have worked a lot in my life because I was busy doing drugs and stuff. So I had the longest time I ever had a job was for like 3 months, and then that was it. That's all I could hang, like, because I had.
We are smoking that right now.
Yeah.
You are smoking.
So
come on now. You are flown past that.
I felt really good though, like at the jobs I did, and I always felt like like I told you, I'm really smart academic wise, like book smart and stuff. So I just knew that I could do something. I didn't know what it was going to be, and then my best friend, whom I met when I first got out of jail initially in 2018, he was living in Oxford House. I was living in Oxford House, and we had this immediate just connection. And so he calls me one day out of the blue. I had been out of prison at that time for about 8 months or so. And he was like, hey, I know where you can get a job as a receptionist. And I was like, and he had been working at Team for like 3 months at that time. And I was like, really, where? And he was like, here, dummy. And I was like, what? At Team? I could work at Team? So immediately, I mean, I didn't even have to do the 2 interview, process. Like, I was immediately a shoo-in. Everybody here loves me. And here I am, a year later, still killing it. I've never had a job with benefits, I've never had like a job where you get paid days off and like all the things that regular normal adults who haven't been on drugs their whole life do. And so now I'm doing those things, and it's never too late, man. Like, God has completely restored. I mean, I don't even want to say restoration, because like when I think of the word restore, I think of, to bring back that which was lost. I never had anything. Like, he has literally done exceedingly and abundantly more than I could ever ask or imagine. And he's still doing it every day. I wake up walking in answered prayers. Like,
come on,
yeah.
girl.
So whenever I meet people, when they come into Team and I'm like, welcome to Team, I'm so glad you're here, they have no idea like how much from the bottom of my heart I actually mean that. But they see the smile on my face, and they know that that is sincere. Like, they know that it's not just, fake. Like, hey, how you doing? Welcome. Like, I'm hi. I'm glad you're here. How can I help you?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. First off, don't ever stop sharing your story. Like, I'm just like, I'm publicly declaring that right now. Just the world needs more of Susan Brown. So just keep sharing it. Deal.
Yes.
Okay.
You got it.
All right. Deal. Okay. One of the aspects that you talk about, like in the name of Team, and even what you're passionate about, even your journey to like gaining awareness that you are worthy and qualified to work at Team, is this employment aspect. Like, because employment matters, right? Having a job matters.
Yeah.
Talk to me. How have you seen businesses, right? So specifically, we talked to Oklahoma City businesses and leaders who want to integrate their Christian faith. How have you seen businesses apply their Christian faith in support of those on the recovery journey? How have you seen, even outside of team, other businesses do that themselves?
So with team, we believe whenever Chris asked me, our director asked me, what I had about 30 days clean one time, he asked me to speak to a group of, I think it was the Chamber of Commerce or something. They were touring team, and he just asked me to, share a little bit of my story. And I was brand new at that time, but in his introduction of me, this is what he said, and I will never forget it. He said, we believe here at Team, we believe in giving people a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance and a fifth chance. And I was like, I don't know how many chances I've had, but this is the one that counts. Thank you so much, Chris. So that was just really spoke volumes to me. And it wasn't because of anything that I had done. It was because I'm here and I'm human, and he believed in me. So for people organizations outside of team, whenever we get people out of jail, their chances increase exponentially to not be sentenced to prison. I'm like the, what is it called? I'm like the 1 or 2%, our recidivism.
The minority.
Yeah. Yes, I'm the
portion.
minority.
Yeah.
For people that get out of jail on our bond and end up going to prison is 2%. And that just happens to be the way it happened to me, but it's really not the way it usually happens. And so whenever we get people out of jail, we meet them where they're at, but also we stabilize them. We get them into a house, and we get them a job. We have a whole employment navigator whose job it is to get our people a job. So he has reached out and partnered with so many local businesses, Lock Supply, UPS, all these people who believe in working with giving people a second chance. And not only that, but last year, this was my first experience doing something called a hygiene drive. Our volunteer coordinator, Matt Staples, reaches out to so many businesses around the metro and is hey, these are we just raise funds, and it's not raising funds, it's raising hygiene products. So we drop boxes all at businesses all throughout the metro, and we tell them, they know what we're doing, they know who we are, they know what we believe about people. And because I heard a message one time in prison, this is what he said. The pastor said 3 things only really matter in life: God matters, people matter, and eternity matters. So anything that we can do to live by that principle as people, that really just speaks volumes to what we believe about our faith. And another thing I love about working at Team is every Monday morning we have a staff meeting. And at the end of every Monday morning staff meeting, we pray as a whole organization. That is so cool. All of our people, I don't know how many people we serve. I think it's about 2,000, but all of those people are covered in prayer. That speaks volumes, huge volumes to our faith. And it helps us grow and keep in touch with our humanity as well, because we're not any better than the people that were getting out of jail. We're just different. We're just at a different spot in life. There's nothing special about me to why this program has changed my life so much as to why it can't do the same thing for anybody else.
Yeah. Okay. So prayer, that's just a literal practical way of integrating Christian faith, and Team does it as an organization. I know other businesses that do too. There's a bank in town that we have partnered with some, and they have a weekly prayer call that they just host and invite all of their clients and people and staff to invite it. So that's a very practical way to do it. I love the way you said, and that way Chris introduced you and the impact that had and encouragement, right? Second, third, fourth, fifth, every chance, that, taking chances on people. That is a literal way to integrate our Christian faith at a business. So talking to small businesses, take chances on people. And for the record, okay, you are one of the success stories. And I just mean that in the way of you're thriving in your role. You have found alignment, your passion. Real talk, is that always how it goes when we take chances on people?
Doesn't always go like that, does it?
Right. That's why. So I think that's why a lot of people are, I'm not going to say afraid, but that's why a lot of people avoid it, is because taking chances, maybe the risks are higher of it not working out, et cetera. But I think if we're going to integrate our Christian faith, when I hear you sharing in your own story, team as an example, as an organization, other small businesses I see, the ones you talked about, you gave examples of Lock Supply, UPS locally partnering with you guys. We take chances on people. That's a part of, in a very practical way, to integrate one's faith into the business. Okay. So one thing I'm always trying to do, Susan, I'm trying to observe my blind spots. I'm trying to observe our organization's blind spots, because even when we have good intentions, often there are blind spots that come with us, right? From our own story, our own wounding, our own protective natures, our own ignorance. Sometimes I don't mean that in a bad word. I just mean it like objectively, we're just naive or ignorant about things. So flip the script on my previous question. Where have you seen Christians, maybe with good intention, actually hurt people who are on their recovery journey?
Whenever we try to force our views of religion on people who just aren't there yet, who don't even want to be there yet, then that really just kind of shuts down the whole humanity aspect of it, because they don't want anything to do with us. A lot of people, Christians have a bad name in the sense that sometimes they can be judgmental. And so for people who aren't Christians, who already have that aspect, like if we get into the argument of religion with somebody who knows nothing about it, then that's not, that really gets it into like a I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. And that's not where we're at. I'm human and you're human. Let's do this together. Like, it doesn't matter. Your beliefs don't have to be the same as mine for me to help you, or vice versa, So I think that, going back to what you said about the employers being afraid to take a chance, that's because it's hard. People don't like to do hard things, Christian or not. We're humans, have a tendency to take the easy route, to take the easy road, to like, we're selfish. People are selfish, and we want what's best for us, and we want to do it the easiest way that we can. And so, especially, I don't know, I've never been really a leader of anything, so to speak. So I don't know, but I can see, like, in leadership roles, how if it's my job to care for all these people, then I want to do it the best of my ability, and including somebody who may not be the best is it's bad for business, So, but we see these signs in places that say people over profit. Like, you have one in your office, I can see. And if we live,
shout out to our mutual friend Aaron.
Shout out Aaron, yes, girl, yes. So
keep going. I cut you off.
Because,
my bad.
Yeah, bro, because people are important. And so like, if we live like that's true, then it's gonna get messy sometimes, and it's not gonna be pretty, and it's not always gonna be good for business. But if we have the end goal in mind of treating people like they are valued and like they are important, then we have to live that way.
Yeah. You talked about the prayer moment as an example earlier, right? Talk to me about, like, your experience specifically as an employee of an organization that the leader and the leadership have implemented that as a part of the structure. Like, the way you talked about it, like, this is just like a part of our Monday staff meeting. So this is a part of our rhythms. This is a part of, like, the DNA of the organization you work for. What does that do for you as a team member there? Like, specifically, what does that do for you?
So one of my favorite, a little side note about that, one of my favorite things is it's a different staff member every week so different people lead our staff meeting, and also different. So like, whoever it is that's leading, you never know who they're going to call on. They just be like, so-and-so, will you pray us out? And so I'm like, oh yay. And I've been called on before to do that too. So it's even better. Like, they don't pick and choose, like, oh, you're in leadership, so only you can pray. Like, anybody can pray. Like, God, we all serve God, and God loves all of us the same. Like, nobody's prayers are more important than the next, or anything. And so it's just really, it really helps us all to grow as a team, to hear, just like, well, I think in whenever you're hearing somebody else's prayers out loud, you kind of like get a feel for like what their values are and where their mind's at, or maybe where they're struggling at this week. So, and another thing about prayer in our workplace is, you're like, anytime at any given day, you can walk around in here and you're liable to walk up on a group, like a small group of staff members praying together. I was in that group yesterday. I had one of my girls standing there holding my hands and she was praying for me. And then another girl walked up and put her hand on my shoulder. So like, we're all here for each other. And in our line of work, burnout is a thing. People our people, like you said, I'm the success stories. We have in our lobby, there's about 12 different posters. Like, we had posters made and they say redefined on there. That was our theme for last year. So it's a photo, like a headshot of a person and then their story beside that. And so people, that's not the norm around here. I mean, we want it to be, and we live like it is, and we strive for it to be, and we'll never stop. But that's not always how it is. Like, we'll have people come in here week after week, failing drug test after drug test. They'll go to treatment. We'll bust our butts to get them into drug treatment center, and they'll stay there for 3 months and come out and they'll look great. They'll look healthy. They'll be a completely different person. And sometimes that they stick with it, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes 2 weeks later they come back and they look a mess again, and we still just get to love them where they're at, and we don't give up on them because we give second and third and fourth and fifth chances. Like, that's what was given to me. So who am I to judge anybody for not doing that?
I think that's the spot that you just talked about right there. That maybe I just want to pause in for a sec, because that's the place, right? Like, all too often, and I'm going to talk about me. I'll talk about me. I won't talk about anybody else, but I hope listeners, viewers, I encourage you to have the humility to recognize how you could do this same thing, where maybe somebody has gone through something and we'll take a chance on them. Okay. So we give that first chance, but what they went through didn't harm me. In other words, I didn't take a chance on them and then their failures like hurt me. It's the second and it's the third. Like, are we willing to keep showing up for people? Are we willing to still be clear as kind, right? Because clear as kind. How are we really to hold them to the standard of that we believe they can live out, but keep giving chances? I think that's the biggest place, Susan, of where our Christian faith matters, and just applying it matters. Like, can we keep showing back up? Not 7 times, not 70 times, but 70 times 7. Like, how do we keep forgiving and giving a chance, even when it's done to us? Not just, right? And we have to be able to have our personal boundaries. We have to be able to take care of ourselves. We have to self-care. We have to be healthy personally, institutionally, organizationally, and at the same time, continue to take a chance on people. Because I think that's one of the traits of a business that is integrating their Christian faith. I believe that is one of the symptoms we'll see, is that we take chances on people, and we take chances on people who maybe hurt us in certain ways. I don't know. I just riffed a little bit right there, but do you have any thoughts or follow-ups as I was sharing that?
Yeah, I do. So another thing that happens in our weekly staff meeting each morning is somebody will be called upon to share a participant success story. So we highlight the people that we serve, so that as a staff, maybe you didn't have any participant success stories that week. Yeah. Maybe you're bummed out, and maybe you're not happy to come to our Monday morning staff meeting like Susan Brown is. Maybe that's not how you're feeling. But real talk. Yeah, that's right. It's right before the prayer. Somebody shares a participant success story, so that I think that is very helpful. Like, I love our leadership team. I don't know whose idea that was, but I'm very grateful to work for an organization who realizes that that's the thing that we need. Like, if I come in struggling, but I hear that you're doing good, that what we're doing as an organization is still working, then it lightens our load a little bit. So we're all in this together, man. And not just as a staff, but our participants are here too. And they love us. They love us. They love the way that we love them. And that just makes it easier. It makes it better. And that's just it. It's just the way it works. Got to give love to get it, and you got to get love to give it.
That's right. Got to give love. Got to give love, girl. That's right. Hey, how would you encourage small businesses, right, to be a part? So you've given some of your own experience at your company. You even mentioned a few, but so talk to a business leader, talk to an owner here, in the Oklahoma City area they are listening to your testimony. Let's call it what it is, your witness, you sharing your passion. How would you encourage a small business leader to be a part of helping individuals on their restoration and recovery journey? What are some practical ways you'd encourage them?
Just be willing to give. If you have the ability to give, people are in need. People are in need of people who care. People are in need of practical items like hygiene products, clothing, food. If it's not to team, like just give anywhere. Not everybody has the things that we take for granted on a daily basis, and a lot of times I think people will see that guy on the corner and think, oh, if I give him money, he's just going to go buy beer. You don't know that, just it's $1. What do you have? Like, just don't be so quick to judge people. Don't be so quick to be greedy. Like, you can call it what you want, but like, that's really what it is. You're being greedy. Just be willing to give and be willing to listen. I can't tell you, our volunteer coordinator, Matt Staples, it's his job to find the businesses. That's what he does. He finds businesses who are willing to donate to our hygiene drive, or to come and volunteer their time to work with our people, to help them build resumes. So just like whatever you can do, the Bible says that we're all given gifts. So whatever your gift is, give in that sense. It doesn't have to be, and that's another way to be greedy. You can keep, oh, I don't have time. How many times do we say, I don't have time? I don't have time. You do have time, because people matter. You have to make it. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. So I would just encourage small businesses to just give in whatever sense of the word that looks like for you personally or for your organization. Just give, show up and say, here we are. We're willing to help. What can we do? Reach out. If you want to do something, but you don't know where to get started, give us a call. Give your local, nonprofit or whatever it is. Just give them a call and say, hey, we'd like to get involved. What can we do? Just ask, because that's, if you don't know what to do, then just ask, and people will tell you what they need.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna recap that, because I think that was incredibly. We can, our listeners, I can personally, we can activate on those things. So I just want to go back through them really fast, because I think that's the. If you're hearing Susan's passion, if you're hearing her story, if you're looking for ways and you're like, yeah, okay, I want to shift. I just want to do it a little different. I want to find a way to be a part of this type of restoration, this people's recovery journeys. Okay, so one, give. And like you said, that give doesn't just necessarily mean dollars. It can mean dollars. It might be somebody on the street corner, like you said, can be time, can be resources, can be a lot of different things, but give. And then you said, listen. Another way I might say it, believe the best, because like you said, we talked about this before the start of the podcast about it's not our job to own outcomes. It's our job to own obedience. We can only control our side of the situation, right? That's it. And so you see somebody, you feel a prompt, give it. It doesn't matter if it's $1. It doesn't matter if it's 10. It doesn't matter if it's a bottle of water that you got in your car. Just give, right? And then
give encouragement. Give encouragement. People who have 2 days clean, that's a big deal. It may not sound like much to you, but those 2 days were really hard. Just say, hey, I see you. Good job. Good job.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that a girl. And then ask. Ask is the other one. Reach out to, practically you can reach out to team. And I think you said his name is Matt Staples. You've talked about it multiple times as somebody who's a volunteer coordinator who works with businesses to say, how can a business come alongside teams already active ministry that has a network, that has connections, that can plug you in if you're just looking for ways to be able to give and listen. That's the thing, is just ask. And there are other ones as well, but that's the very specific one we have in front of us here today. Sister, okay, what else you got? Any other stories you want to share? Any other aspects that you would want to talk about prior to us landing this plane today?
One thing is, another thing that I've recently been fortunately blessed to do is I recently got DOC badged as a volunteer. So to go from an inmate back into the prison, I was an inmate, and now I'm not. I go, those women were bawling. She was like, you said you'd come back and then you did. I was like, yeah, because you guys are my people. So That's one other way that you could get involved. The Department of Correction needs people who care. Often those people are overlooked and forgotten about, out of sight, out of mind. We're all guilty of that. So if you have the ability to go and like look up DOC volunteer badge training and get involved that way, do that. Go in there and just let people know that they matter, that people still care about them, and that they're still people, they're still people.
Like, what do you practically do when you go? Do you just go
What I do?
them, listen?
Yeah,
like,
no.
what do you
So
do
that
when you
is
go,
what I
when you go
do.
volunteer?
There's a program there at Mabel Bassett. It's a brand new. It's called the HERO Initiative. HERO stands for Helping Explore Rehabilitation Opportunities. And so Team's part in that is we're called their outside sponsor. So we basically, these women, it's a peer-led event, so they're doing it all themselves. We just go and be present there for them, and also we bought their they have an art class, communication class. They're doing a 5K on Mother's Day, so I'm really looking forward to that. But DOC has so many volunteer opportunities that you can just get involved with, especially with the Jesus side of stuff. Like people often come to the Lord in incarceration, in jail, in prison. And so, and they're just hungry for more of it. And I think the more that we're able I'm friends this day. I met a woman, my chaplain, when I was in Oklahoma County Jail, and I'm still friends with her to this day. She's 74 years old. We meet for breakfast once a month. She wrote me the entire time I was in prison. Like she sent me my first Bible when I was in prison. We get a little, an hour meeting with our chaplain once or twice a month. And so I would go in there, I'd write down, I'd had a whole list of questions. What does this mean? What does this verse mean? What's the scripture mean? And so she sent me like a beginner Bible that explains everything a little better. And for that, I will be forever grateful. That really started my faith journey. And I told her, if the Lord is living water, then you're my bridge to that water. And I appreciate it. So, you never know the impact that your participation or your showing up in somebody's life, that your obedience. I like that you said we can only own our own obedience. You never know the impact that your obedience will have in somebody's life. So if you love the Lord, then live it, live like he lived and love people.
Live like he lived and love people. Yeah, Sister Susan, thank you. You again, I said it earlier and I'm saying it now. Keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. You said before we hit record, I was like, so like, if you shared a lot, she's like, oh yeah, I share my story all the time. I haven't recorded it and put it. Like, I'm just telling you, girl, bring it. Like, the world, Oklahoma City as a city, the world, it needs your story, because your story is the restoration and the grace and the gospel of Jesus Christ. Like, you are just a living embodiment of it. And I needed it. I need it. The world needs it. And so keep sharing. But I love the fact that you share your story, because your story will connect with people. And that's the thing that for us as followers of Jesus, for those of us, and again, we're talking specifically to our friends, our listeners in the business community, like, a part of what you got to do is bring your story. God wrote a story in your life, allowed a story to happen in your life on purpose, so that you can use it. And Susan, you are doing that day in, day out. And so thank you for sharing it with me today. Thanks for sharing it with our listeners and our viewers today. Any other final thoughts before I read a closing verse for us and take us out?
No, let me hear the verse. What is it? I can't wait.
Come on, girl. Okay, Luke. This was the verse for me that was inspiring as I was praying and preparing for our recording. But it's Luke.
Okay, 4:8. One thing. Sorry, real quick. This is you want to hear my verse? This is my verse.
Go.
My
verse.
What you got? Romans 8:18. For I consider the sufferings of the present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. That's my verse, Clay. That's my verse, Clay. Yeah. God's so good.
Thank you.
So powerful.
Thanks for sharing it. Luke 4:18. We're gonna bring multiple pieces of the word. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and a recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed. And just let us all remember that we are all captives. We are all oppressed. We all need that freedom, and we can connect and give. We can listen. We can love, and just live that. All of us who profess to be followers. Susan, thank you for joining today. Listeners, we look forward to being together next week. And until then, choose life.
Choose life. Bye.
Thanks for tuning into our show. If you want to learn more about how you can integrate your faith into your business, download our integrated business guide for free by clicking the link in the show notes below. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.